Hey guys, it's me again. I know it's been like a week and I know that you guys missed me, but I'm back. I know it's been a week, but literally there's been like nothing to report about. I mean, I know there's like the Oxford University um working on a vaccine for this virus and also the whole flu vaccination, and I saw a post on Facebook, several posts on Facebook actually, saying hopefully life will return to normal in November and hopefully the UK doesn't have a second wave of this virus. And I know that other YouTubers have been uploading videos in my absence. But yeah, I'm back now. I know that you've missed me. I missed you too. Yeah, obviously today's like the first day of like the face coverings being compulsory in shops. So yeah, new face covering rules come into force in England. Face coverings are now compulsory for customers in shops in England after new coronavirus rules came into force within 12 hours of the government issuing guidance on the change. And yeah, and obviously face coverings became compulsory on public transport on I think it's the 15th of July. So yeah, I think it was the 15th of July. So yeah, obviously, I know I could have done a video on that, but yeah. Coverings are mandatory in enclosed public spaces such as supermarkets, indoor shopping centres, transport hubs, banks and takeaways. Police can hand out fines of up to £100 for those who do not comply. But some retailers have insisted they will not enforce the rules. Sainsbury's and Costa Coffee said their staff will not challenge customers who enter their stores without masks, while Asda said enforcement was the responsibility of the relevant authorities. But Waitrose will have staff at the entrance reminding customers of the rule, and Tesco's will be selling face coverings at the shop's entrances. Greggs and McDonald's said takeaway customers needed to wear masks. Guidance issued by the government on Thursday for England states that staff in premises where face coverings are required are encouraged to take steps to promote compliance with the law and can refuse entry to people who do not have a valid exemption under the rules. However, the government said that it was responsibility of the individuals to wear covering. Matt Hancock urged the public to play their part by following the new guidance. As we move into the next stage of easing restrictions for the public, it's vital we continue to shop safely so we can make the most of our fantastic retail during the summer. Boris Johnson said the government's ability to ease social distancing measures and use of face masks depended on driving down the levels of the virus. Police will be able to use force to remove customers from the shops if they do not wear face coverings, as well as prevent them from entering, according to the College of Policy. Didn't know that was such a college. But forces have said they will only be enforcing the rules, including issuing £100 fines as a last resort, and officers will not be patrolling premises. The government is confident so the vast majority of people will comply with regulations. There are exceptions to the new rules for children under 11, those with disabilities or certain health conditions such as respiratory or cognitive impairments that make it difficult for them to wear a face covering. People could print out a card from the government's website so they were exempt if they wish, but stressed people will not be expected to carry proof of an exemption. PHE, Public Health England, has warned parents not to buy coverings for babies and young children because of the risk of choking or suffocation. Masks will not be mandatory in indoor venues that have other safety measures in place, including eating restaurants, pubs, hairdressers and salons, gyms and leisure centres, cinemas, concert halls and theatres, visitor attractions such as museums and libraries. Some people with certain health conditions or disabilities, wearing a mask can be more difficult. For 2 minutes and had a panic attack and threw up in public. Retail and trade organisations have criticised the government over the length of time it has taken for the guidance to be published after the changes were announced more than a week ago. Government face coverings should cover the nose and mouth and can be as simple as a scarf or a bandana that securely fits around the side of the face without having to be held in place. requirement to wear face coverings at transport hubs, railway and bus stations, airports and maritime ports only applies for those areas which are fully indoors and enclosed. You are allowed to remove a face covering in certain situations, for example, to provide identification in banks or when buying age-restricted products, or to eat and drink. Face coverings have been compulsory in shops in Scotland since the 10th of July. Shoppers are not currently required to wear them in Wales or Northern Ireland, although NI will have to wait until the 20th of August before deciding whether to make them compulsory. Coverings are already compulsory on public transport in England and Scotland, as well as most buses, trains and ferries in Northern Ireland. So yeah, it has been a few weeks now since they've become compulsory. So I would have done a video on that, but it would be pointless. And they will be mandatory on public transport in Wales from the 27th of July. So yeah. Face coverings will be compulsory in shops, supermarkets and while ordering takeaways in England from Friday. So today, as I'm recording this, it's today. Face coverings must be worn in closed public space in England from 24th July. This includes shops, supermarkets, shopping centres, banks, buildings, societies and post offices. It extends to trains and bus stations and airports. Customers must wear a face covering before entering any shop and must keep it on until they leave. Those who fail to wear a mask could be fined up to £100 or £50 if they pay within 14 days. The rules will be enforced by the police, not shop workers, and only as a last resort. Shop workers will not have to wear coverings. Sainsbury's won't be challenging customers for a mask since they may have a reason not to wear one. The Association of Convenience Stores advises members not to challenge customers who are unwilling to avoid coverings, avoid any potential flashpoints of abuse. Playlist doesn't work. Encourage and support it. Aldi will sell masks with in-store signs and staff members prompting customers to obey. Tesco will have signs explaining the rules and sell masks. John Lewis says will gently remind customers to wear face coverings. JD Sports says customers without face masks may be offered them. In Scotland, it has been a requirement to wear face coverings in shops since the 10th of July. Anyone not wearing one will be fined £60, reduced to £30 if paid within 28 days for first events. People with certain medical conditions or disabilities are exempt, along with children under 5. In England, face coverings do not have to be worn where being practical. That includes restaurants, pubs and gyms. Must be worn in a shop or cafe where buying food and drink to take away, but can be removed if you sit down to eat and drink. They are also optional in hairdressers and beauty salons, cinemas, concert halls and theatres, museums, and dentists and opticians. In Wales and Northern Ireland, you do not currently have to wear a face covering in shops or takeaways. In Scotland, they are compulsory in shops and libraries, but the rules do not apply in takeaways, cafes, coffee shops, restaurants, pubs, or in banks and building societies. Some people do not have to wear them. They include children under 11, those unable to put on or wear a face covering because of a physical or mental illness or disability, people for whom wearing or removing a face covering will cause severe distress, anyone assisting someone who relies on lip reading to communicate. You can take off your mask if you need to eat, drink or take medication. A police officer or other official asks you to, or if shop staff need to verify your age, you are entering a shop to avoid harm if you do not have a mask on you. Children under 3 should not wear face masks as they could cause choking and suffocation, PHE says. Since 15th of June, anyone travelling by bus, train, ferry or plane in England must wear a face covering if they are not exempt. It's reasonably necessary for you to eat or drink. You can remove the face covering to do so. Public transport excludes cruise ships, school transport, taxis and private vehicles. In Scotland, it is also compulsory to wear face coverings on all public transport. People will also be required to wear masks. Mandatory in public transport in Wales from 27th July. These coverings will be 3 layers thick. the wearing of face coverings on most buses, trains and ferries became mandatory in the Northern Ireland on 10th of July. Being careful to use the term face covering rather than face mask. Surgical masks kept for use. Guide on how to. Coronavirus is spread when droplets are sprayed into the air. When infected people talk, cough, or sneeze, droplets can then form surfaces. Yes, yeah. Covering shops. England has become mandatory on 10th of July. Fail to comply, face up to a fine of £100. Since mid-May, members of the public have been advised to wear coverings in closed spaces where they may encounter people they will not usually meet. Public transport since 15th of June. Under 11, and those with disabilities will be exempt. Lip read. Yeah. Distancing means keeping apart from people to assist spread of virus. Using less, so it's currently on local lockdown. 2 metres. Anyone who's not a member of your household, you should still ideally stay 2 metres, but if that's not possible, you can stay 1 metre apart. But it's face coverings, sitting face to face. Scotland, the exceptions to 2 metre rule are only in some premises, such as pubs and restaurants, and face coverings are compulsory in shops. Wales, where 2 metre rule remains, guidance states in fact is not realistic, so like the hairdressers. And also, I saw another post saying that all schools in Wales will be open in September. It's like old news now. Support bubble in England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Single adults living alone or single parents with children under 18 can form a bubble with one other household of any size. 6 other times in Wales, 2 households of any size can now join up in a similar extended household. Children under 8. Also in Scotland, children aged 11 or under no longer have to socially distance while outside. Outdoors in England, up to 30 people from 2 households can meet, or a maximum of 6 people can meet from multiple households. People from different households must maintain social distancing throughout. England, 6 from different households, 1 metre plus 2 households. Scotland, up to 15 from 5 households, 2 metres apart, 8 people, 3 households, 2 households. Any number from 2 households, 2 metres apart, 2 households. Northern Ireland, up to 30 outdoors, 1 metre apart, up to 6 people. People who are clinically vulnerable and are shielding can now gather in groups of up to 6 people outdoors, including individuals outside of their household. In Scotland, up to 15 people can meet outdoors. In Northern Ireland, up to 30 people. In Wales, 2. England, 2 households, max 30 people can meet indoors and overnight stays are allowed. Scotland, up to 8 people. Groups are up to 6 people in Northern Ireland and Wales. Indoor meetings are still not allowed, but with indoor bars and restaurants due to reopen in August, they'll presumably be relaxed. And just wash hands before and after eating food. And pubs, restaurants and cafes have been able to reopen indoors. In England and Northern Ireland, safety guidelines, look ahead. Staff should practice good hand hygiene and social distancing. They don't have to wear face covering. Face-to-face seating. Indoor parts of pubs and restaurants will reopen in Scotland on the 15th of July, when Wales open outdoors on the 13th of July and indoors on the 3rd of August. Self-isolating means staying at home and not leaving it. People with symptoms of virus should isolate themselves for 7 days and get tested. Cough, high temperature, loss of taste or smell. Other members of the household should self-isolate for 14 days and not leave their homes. Contact tracing. Some to be at risk have to isolate themselves. In England, those clinically vulnerable, shielders are self-isolating from a support bubble from the 1st of August. Shielding in England will be paused. So yeah, that's a lot. So yeah, that's all I have to say. So bye.